Hey class, and thanks for watching my paper defense video on this course final project. As you know, our paper topic this semester consisted of an economical history subject and a specific entrepreneur, city or business, anything like that that shaped the era of their time, of its time. My paper is about my own hometown, Texarkana, Arkansas / Texas. It rests on the state line of the two states, in northeast Texas and southwest Arkansas. The history of Texarkana began in the mid to late 19th century, and by post World War One, Texarkana was a booming metropolis for its size. It definitely wasn't a very large town. However, it acted as such for its size. It's still not a very large town, but it grows significantly in certain times. And in my paper, I focused on three distinct landmarks in the city of Texarkana that still actually exist today. And one of these landmarks is almost completely abandoned today. Another is being completely restored and actually set to be completely restored and finished next year and turned into lofts. That's the hotel. And the last is still being used in pristine condition as it was nearly 100 years ago when it was opened. And these locations are the Union Station, which is completely abandoned almost, the Grimm Hotel, which is also, like I said, being turned into lofts as we speak, and the Sanger Theater, which of course we know the Sanger Theater was a string of theaters across the country. It's now called the Perot Theater after Ross Perot, who's from Texarkana and who donated a lot of money to restore the theater in the 70s. All these locations opened up around the same period of time, in the mid to late 1920s. According to the United States Census of 1920 and 1930, there was a large increase in the town's population during this decade of the 1920s. In my paper, I argue that this increase is largely due to the three aforementioned landmarks that were opened in this time period. I argue that the research is significant. I believe because it shows that what businesses and facilities do to the economy and population of a city. Also, this is important because it shows proof as to why the city was able to grow the way it did, even at a time when growth was not so common. As we know, that was Prohibition and right before the Great Depression. And in this time, Texarkana was able to grow during this pre-Great Depression era and the middle of the Prohibition era. And there was as speaking of the Prohibition, there was free, very non-aggressive enforcement, little to no enforcement of illegal liquor in Texarkana. My paper discusses a few different crimes and a killing of an Arkansas side police officer that was over illegal liquor. And I discuss also a couple more incidents in Texarkana that has to do with this time period that I dug up from local newspapers and police reports that I found really interesting, and I'm hoping to hopefully you find this interesting as well. So illegal liquor at this time wasn't exactly frowned upon. If you had something else in your glass at the Grimm Hotel other than sweet tea or coffee, then you probably weren't going to hear much fuss about it. My paper argues that this, of course, this non-enforcement also had a pretty big growth or contribution to the growth in the economy in the town, in the city. In my paper, I relied heavily upon city directories, police reports, local newspaper articles, like I said, and especially census reports. My primary research method consisted of looking at Texarkana before and after the period in question. This meaning I looked at Texarkana pre-World War I and even before. I also looked at Great Depression era Texarkana and all the way through the 1950s. I had to see what kind of other growths and patterns happened later on to kind of compare it to the one that I'm or in question that I'm studying and analyzing. I found at the end that there was indeed a significant increase in population in the decade of the 1920s and in the local economy. And I very much enjoyed the research and writing of my project, and I hope everyone that is hearing about is interested in as well. And in the future, I would love and look forward to diving into this topic at much further length. So thank you, and good luck on your future courses.